Let's start with that one. Yeah. Okay, because we need to start. So let's just start with that one. Shalom, friends. Welcome. Good evening. Good evening. We are this morning. We had a very nice experience with the national service, going between all the shuls of progressive Judaism in South Africa. It was really, really beautiful to see all the products of all shul. We were well represented in videos, in Aliyah. I was saying some words. Helen Alexander was doing the Hallel. And all shul were well represented. It was very beautiful to see it. I'd like to, and here, we were the only shul to have presence here. There were 10 brave people who sat with me for almost 3 hours for a long festival liturgy, and I appreciate it. It was beautiful. And at home, people were at home also. It's also the 3 hours that it was at home as well. Yeah. The question that everyone asks is, when is Pesach finished? So the answer is that for us, it finishes tonight. For the Orthodox, it finishes tomorrow, for reasons we can discuss some other time. That have to do with diasporal schedules versus Land of Israel schedule, but here we are. And tonight we are doing just a regular Friday evening service. Tomorrow morning, I'll still be doing some Pesach reading to conclude due to the reading schedule. But in principle, we are concluding, and let's just kick off with Hine Matov, how good and pleasant it is. 126, if you're looking for the words.
Hine Matov umanayim, Hine Matov umanayim, Hine Matov umanayim, Hine Matov umanayim. Shevet achim gam yachad, gam yachad, gam yachad. Hine ma tov, hine ma tov, hine ma tov, hine ma tov umanayim, hine ma tov umanayim. Hine matov umanayim, hine matov umanayim. Shevet achim gam yachad, gam yachad, gam yachad. Hine matov, hine matov, hine matov,
Let's light the Shabbat candles, 118. Please rise. Glory to you.
In the spirit of our ancient tradition, which unites and sanctifies the house of Israel in all lands and ages, we welcome the Sabbath by kindling these lights. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam
Thank you, Ruthie. Thank you, Ruthie. Let's continue in page 129 at the bottom, putting the intention forward for the prayer. 129 at the bottom. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love and all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block for young and straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May the synagogue be, for all who enter, a doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. Page 130, Psalm 95, Lechun Eranena Adonai. Hello, welcome. Well, make yourself at home, come.
Lechun Eranena, Lechun Eranena, Lechun Eranena Adonai. Lechun Eranena, Lechun Eranena, Lechun Eranena Adonai. Naria, Naria, Letzor Yishenu Nekavla, Fanav Betodah. Naria, Naria, Letzor Yishenu, Besmerot Naria lo. Naria, Naria, Letzor Yishenu Nekavla, Fanav Betodah. Naria, Naria, Letzor Yishenu, Bismirot Naria lo.
So that was Psalm 95. Let us move to Psalm 96. We'll do the English in page 132, 132. We'll do the English for Psalm 96. Sing to God a new song. Sing to God all the earth. Sing to God, bless God's name. Proclaim God's victory day after day. Tell of God's glory among the nations, God's wondrous deeds among all people. For the Eternal One is great and much acclaimed. God is held in awe by all divine beings. All the gods of the people are mere idols, but the Eternal One made the heavens. Glory and majesty are before God, strength and splendor are in God's temple. Let the heavens rejoice and the earth exult. Let the sea and all within it thunder, the fields and everything in it exalt. Then shall all the trees of the forest shout for joy at the presence of the Eternal One. For God is coming. God is coming to rule the earth. God will rule the world justly and its peoples in faithfulness. All Zarua, bottom of 132 out of Psalm 97.
O Zarua, la tzadik, ul Yisrael simcha. O Zarua, la tzadik, ul Yisrael simcha. O Zarua, la tzadik, ul Yisrael simcha. O Yisrael simcha. O Zarua la tzadik ul Yisrael simcha. O Yisrael simcha. O Zarua la tzadik ul Yisrael simcha. O Zarua la tzadik ul Yisrael simcha. Or Zarua la tzadik ul Yisrael simcha. Ul Yisrael simcha. Or Zarua la tzadik ul Yisrael simcha. Ul Yisrael simcha.
righteous rejoice in the eternal and acclaim God's holy name. I'm moving to Psalm 99 in page 135. Psalm 99. Let's read first the English, and then Lee and Dylan will lead us via the Romemu, and then we'll have a video. So let's do the English first, 135. God enthroned on cherubim is sovereign. People tremble, the earth quakes. God is great in Zion and exalted above all people. They praise your name is great and awesome. God is holy. Mighty ruler who loves justice, it was you who established equity, you who worked righteous judgment in Jacob. Exalt the eternal our God and bow down to God's footstool. God is holy. Exalt the eternal our God and bow toward God's holy hill, for the eternal our God is holy. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu. B'kasha. Should I continue? Do you want to have the video first?
I think you better continue.
Okay. It happens. It happens. Can we have the video? The Mizmor Shir video. What? We found it. Okay. Then Romemu 135. Those who haven't been here for a while, this is part of a whole set of arrangements that Lee and Dylan came up with, which is adaptation of contemporary music into the Jewish tunes. Good. We conclude the section. Do we have the video, ma'am? Yes. Okay. So Adonai Oz la'amo yiten, Adonai yevarech et amo b'shalom, and let us have the video. Yeah. So the video Kol Hanshama. Now.
Kol ha-neshama tehaleluya, haleluya. Kol ha-neshama tehaleluya, haleluya. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Shama, Tehaleya,
Thanks for that. Thanks for that. You know, it's interesting when I came here a few years back, then I was very kind of enthusiastic to introduce this kind of music. And we did shifted the kind of music that was here. And it's interesting that now, thanks to the technology, we can bring this arrangement and what's happening contemporary in the combination of Jewish music and world music. You know, that's very interesting to see, mainly as we come from a tradition of choral music, of traditionalist choral music, and how we keep our traditions but still transform ourselves. There's a lot to talk about it, not today. But in any case, friends, another week had passed. Last week we stood here and we welcomed Pesach. Now we are departing from Pesach, and we are not alone in that. Our Christian friends have been through Easter and all the story that Easter entails. Our Muslim friends have been through another week of the Ramadan. This week has been very truly rich in the fabric of religious life all over. And with that, we experience the floods in KZN and the trouble elsewhere. So truly and honestly, as we are reflecting on the week, I feel, and I invite you to connect to that notion of true gratitude and true acknowledgement and true appreciation to all that we have, to be able to share the worship, to share the fellowship, to just be here together week after week, and to enjoy the presence of one another and the spirit of one another, and how we lifting each other up, how precious it is, truly and honestly, how precious it is. And I hope you had a great Pesach week. And with that, we are looking forward as the days of the Omer continue, and we are looking to the weeks ahead with sight for Shavuot that is to come in 6 weeks ahead, and all the gute Sachen, all the good things still ahead. So I invite you to sit still and kind of make the space for the Shabbat to enter within the everything that's happening, the hecticness and the trouble and the travel and everything that comes and everything that goes. The stability of the rhythm of Shabbat gives one comfort. No matter what will happen, Shabbat will come and we will sing L'Chadodi together. So let's take this 30 seconds to dwell together, and then we are in L'Chadodi 138, 139. When you're ready, Rory.
לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה, שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. לשם אל תפארת ולתהילה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, וראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני הלך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Thank you all. Please be seated straight to מזמור שיר Psalm 91.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, לזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, לזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, באמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, לזמר לשמך עליון. כי שימחתני אדוני בפועלך, מעשה ידיך רנן. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון.
The righteous bloom like a dead palm, they thrive like a cedar in Lebanon, planted in the eternal one's house, the flourishing of God's cause. Old age does they produce fruit, but for the sap and freshness are testing. God is upright, my rock in whom there is no wrong. Still on page 140, Tzadik Ataman Yifrach.
Tzadik Ataman Yifrach, Keretz Barhanon
So these are the final words of Psalm 92. With that, we conclude the Kabbalat Shabbat and move into the evening service starting at 1:44. We'll have the Reader's Kaddish and then straight to the Baraku video, 1:44. Straight to the following page, the Baraku video. Over to you.
יתגדע ויתקדש מרבה. אמן. בעלמא יברך חירותי וימלך מלכותי. בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל. מגלה בזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יש מרבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה יתברך. יתברך, ישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשא בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעולמה ויאמרו אמן.
Barachon 146. This is the time to thank Shmira, who is sharing the videos from behind the scenes. Thanks, Shmira. 148. Blessed are you, eternal our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, whose wisdom opens heaven's gates, and whose understanding changes times and seasons, and arranges the stars in the heavenly courses according to plan. You are the creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzevaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign over us into eternity. Blessed are you, eternal one, who brings on evening Be'ochata Adonai, Hama'ariv, Aravim, Ahavat Olam. To you back, Rory, 150.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu v'shofenu v'kumenu nasiach b'chokecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki hem hayenu ve'orech yameinu ובהם נגי יומם ולילה, נגי יומם ולילה, באהבתך, אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל.
Blessed are you, eternal one, who loves your people Israel. 152, 153. Let us cover our eyes. Lee and Dylan will lead us via the Shema, the declaration of faith. One 154, 155. You shall love your eternal God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home, when you are away, when you lie down, when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand and let them be a symbol before your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorpost of your house and on your gates. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. We are approaching now the Micha Mocha, which is the reading part of the Song of the Sea that we have read earlier this morning. As the formal reading of the 7th of Pesach. I'd like, as the intention, the introduction to it, to read from 157 at the top, 157 at the top, introduction to Mi Chamocha. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. Mi Chamocha 158.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nehedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot osef eleh, nora tehilot osef eleh. Mahutecha, ra'uvanecha, bokeaya, lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, zelim, anu ve'ameru, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nehedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot osef eleh, nora tehilot osef
מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקיים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, thus it is said, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, God had redeemed Jacob, וגאלו and redeemed him, מיד חזק ממנו, from a hand stronger than his own, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל, blessed are you, eternal one, for redeeming Israel. Please read with me the English in 160, the Hashkivenu, may we lie down in peace. 160. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace, and rise us up, our sovereign, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel, for your name's sake. Be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. God, our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, eternal one, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all of you people Israel, and over Jerusalem. ברוך אתה אדוני הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. Rory, can you take us via the ufros עלינו?
Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Baruch atah Adonai. Apores sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim ועל ירושלים, ועל ירושלים, אמן.
Amen. Thank you, Rory. We are on page 162. Those who keep Shabbat by calling it delight will rejoice in your realm. On the notion of rejoicing, ismechu, the lower paragraph on 162, ismechu b'malchutecha.
Yum bidi bum bum bum, Shabbat, Shabbat. Yum bidi bum bum bum, Shabbat, Shabbat. Yum bidi bum bum bum, Shabbat, Shabbat. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat. Yismachu, yismachu b'malchutcha. Yismachu, yismachu b'malchutcha. Shomrei Shabbat, Shomrei Shabbat, Korei onegonek Shabbat. Shomrei Shabbat, Shomrei Shabbat, Korei onegonek Shabbat. Aham mekadeshei shemi, kulam yisbeu v'yitdamu, mituvecha Shabbat, Shabbat. Yismachu, yismachu b'malchutcha. Yismachu, yismachu b'malchutcha. Shomrei Shabbat, Shomrei Shabbat, Korei onegonek Shabbat. Shomrei Shabbat, Shomrei Shabbat, Korei onegonek Shabbat. Ve'oshevi ratzita bo, v'kidashta. Chemdot yamim oto karata, zecher l'maseh v'reishit. Yismachu, yismachu b'malchutcha. Yismachu, yismachu b'malchutcha. Shomrei Shabbat, Shomrei Shabbat, Korei onegonek Shabbat. Shomrei Shabbat, Shomrei Shabbat, Korei onegonek Shabbat.
Please rise for the Amidah 164. Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi yagid teilatecha, eternal God. Open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu v'imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah, האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא, האל עליון גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואמהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אמן. 168. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה מתים אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מזריח השמש ומוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לישני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומהדור מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמנת לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. אמן. 170. אתה הקדוש ושמך הקדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יללוך הסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Amen. 173 at the top. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat 175. רצי אדוני אלוהינו בעמך ישראל, ותפילתם באהבה תקבל, ותהי לרצון תמיד עבודת ישראל עמך, ברוך אתה אדוני, שאותך לבדך ביראה נעבוד. מודים 176, do you just?
מודים אנחנו לך שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו אלוהי אבותינו ואימותינו לעולם ועד. צור חיינו מגן אישנו, צור חיינו מגן אישנו, אתה הוא לדור ודור, לדור ודור. נודה לך ונספר תהילתך, על חיינו המסורים בידיך, ועל נשמותינו הפקודות לך, ועל ניסיך שבכל יום עמנו, ועל נפלותיך וטובותיך שבכל ערב בבוקר וצהריים, ערב בבוקר וצהריים. הטוב כי לא חלוק רחמך, המרחם כי לא תמו חסדיך, מעולם קיווינו לך, קיווינו לך. קיווינו לך.
And finally 178 to you, Rory.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael, Amcha tasim leolam, Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom, v'tov b'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום. Amen.
Please be seated. We welcome the security team who are joining us now. Welcome. Thank you for all that you do. לב טהור ברא לי אלוהים, fashion a pure heart from your God, ורוח נכון חדש בקרבי, create in me a steadfast spirit, do not cast me out of your presence, אל תשליכני מלפניך, and do not take your Holy Spirit away from me, ורוח קודשך אל תיקח ממני. Let me again rejoice in your help, and a vigilant spirit sustain me as my mouth declare your praise. Help me to put this praise into practice. Open up my lips and my heart. Eternal God, may we all put our praise into practice. Amen, so be it. Let's take a moment to kind of orient ourselves, connect with the Spirit, charged by the Spirit, and then Lee and Dylan will lead us via Yiyu Leratzon. Amen. May the words of our mouth and meditation of our heart will be acceptable to your God, our rock and our deliverer. Good. With that, we are moving to the Misha Berach on page 511 as we pray for healing, renewal of soul, renewal of spirit, for all the suffering there is in this world, sickness and illness and war, and famine and all the problems that there are. And may the pain of the world, which the well-being inside of us here, now, in this moment, not everything is bad. There are some good things now, here, present. So may the suffering in the world be healed a little bit, because we think and we send love and strength to all those who suffer. And if you want to mention names in the forum or here, please do mention names, as we will be putting the video of the Misha Berach, please.
Misha Berach Lavotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing.
Amen. Friends, as we are departing from Pesach and as we are on the 7th of Pesach, I'd like to share with you a story of a tradition which is related to the day of the 7th of Pesach, the ending of Pesach, and related to the figure of the Baal Shem Tov, the legendary but yet historical figure who established Hasidism in the end of the 17th century, beginning of the 18th century. So again, we are talking about a legendary figure, but a figure who actually walked on earth. And we can touch the historical figure of Rabbi Israel Baal Shem Tov, who revived Judaism, mainly the spiritual element of that. And on Shvi Shel Pesach, on the day in Hasidic communities, all over Hasidic communities, because there are many streams in Hasidism, there is a special meal called Seudat Mashiach, or Seudat, the Heilige Zayde Baal Shem Tov, the holy grandfather Baal Shem Tov, telling the miracles and wonders of his journey on his way to the land of Israel. So I said in the beginning, he did not reach the land of Israel, and he found out that there has been obstacles, and it was not for him to get to the land of Israel. And it's very symbolic. You know, he got until, I'll tell you some of the stories, but he got more half of the way, and then he turned around and came back to his home in Mezhibozh. Who did manage to visit the land of Israel is his great-grandson, Rabbi Nachman of Braslav, who visited the land of Israel in 1799 during the Napoleonic War. While Napoleon was on siege on Acre, Rabbi Nachman of Braslav was running away from there. So, because many times those two stories are, those who know the stories, they're kind of confused in the people's mind. He had many obstacles. Then he managed to come back to Istanbul, Constantinople. He managed to come back, and that was on the 7th of Pesach when he celebrated his salvation. Now let me give you some more details. So here's the story. The Baal Shem Tov and his daughter, Adele, and his best student, Rabbi Hirsch, they hired a wagon and they went from Mezhibozh in the Ukraine of today toward Istanbul in Turkey to take a ship to the land of Israel. They have reached Istanbul in Turkey just on the evening of the Pesach, and they done their Leila Seder before they will continue their journey. Now there's a whole story I'm skipping, how they saved the Jewish community there from riots and from blood libel. I'm skipping that. They saved the Jews in Istanbul. And then the first day after that, they took a ship. The ship went on its way, but soon after leaving the port, there started a huge storm in the sea. The storm almost broke, like in the story of Jonah, and Adele, the daughter, she fell to the sea. The miracle, he saved her. The wind blew hard. They took them without way, without knowing, for 2 days. They were in great sorrow, great distress. In the third day, the storm came down and they found themselves in an island that none of them knew. Now, in the reality, they probably went in one of the Greek islands, okay? In the reality, they weren't lost in space and time. They were somewhere in the Mediterranean, but they didn't know it. They went down from the ship like all other passengers to have a tour, and they've been lost, they gone lost. They couldn't find a way back to the bay when the ship was. And we are on the last day of Pesach. Now it's Pesach, they're supposed to celebrate, and here they are lost in some island and don't know where they are. On top of all that, local bandits are attacking them, taking them as prisoners and tying them in ropes. And now the bandits are sitting to eat while the Baal Shem Tov, his daughter, and his best student, Rabbi Hirsch, are tied in ropes waiting to see what's going to happen. Rabbi Hirsch tells the Baal Shem Tov, why you silence? Do the miracle like you always do. Do the miracle like you always do. The Baal Shem Tov tells him, believe me, I'm in such weakness. I don't know anything now. I lost all my spiritual powers. Maybe you remember something that I taught you. Remind me anything. Rabbi Tzvi tells him, you know what, Tzvi is Hirsch, tells him, you know, I don't remember anything as well. I lost everything. You know what? I remember the alphabet. So the Baal Shem Tov tells you, so why are you silent? Start saying the alphabet. Then Rabbi Tzvi start to read before the Baal Shem Tov the alphabet. Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey. And the Baal Shem Tov repeats after him in great, I say in Yiddish, in Steigen, in a great awakening spirit, until all his spiritual power comes back to him. And suddenly, as they are doing that, they hear bell and voice and voices, and they see the old captain and the people from their own ship who they came to, coming to save them from the bandits. As the bandit sees the captain and his company, they run away. The captain released them from their bondage, take them back to the ship. On the same day, they're leaving the island, they're coming back to Istanbul. This is the 7th of Pesach. The Baal Shem Tov and his company coming down to the ship on Istanbul. L'chaim tovim u'leshalom, to life and to peace. The Baal Shem Tov, they say, give me wine. I'm going to bless. He blessed Borei Pri Hagafen, he blessed Shechianu. And he say, the chronicle says, and he drank quite a lot of the wine. And it says, this is a strong wine, Esh Ochla Esh. This is like a fire, it's the fire wine. He needed to get strong. Now he knew very well that it's from the heavens. It's an obstacle from the heavens that now he should not go to the land of Israel. The time is not right. He goes back to the Ukraine, to Meziboj, and that's the story of his journey. That's the story of the journey of the Baal Shem Tov, a little bit of it. Now, what you can learn out of the story, out of the historical element, is what to do when you have a weakening of the soul. When the soul is weak, when you say, I don't have the power to pray. I can't pray now. They say, katnut the mochin, the diminishing, the smallness, littleness, diminishing of the mind, katnut the mochin. So if you are in that phase, you want to pray, and you are in a phase of mochin, the katnut of small mind, you cannot be in your strong voice to speak with Hashem with your full power. What do? Then, you know, that's that, as he did, say, what you can cling to. What is it that, okay, I understand, you cannot do much. What you can do. Can you do the alphabet? Do the alphabet. Cling to what you do. In our story, Rabbi Tzvi, remember just the alphabet. They started with that, and with that, there was a spiritual awakening of that. And in the prayer book, sometimes it's the same. It's like fake it until you make it. You start and say, God, I don't have any powers now. I got nothing to give. Well, start, start. It's a bit like in yoga, you have to meet the mattress, or in any other sport. Sometimes you don't feel like starting. You start, then it will come to you later on. Now, it's a matter in Hasidism, and the Baal Shem Tov have related to it several times. When you pray, but with weakness, the prayer hangs there somewhere, waiting. When you pray with intention, then this prayer is pulling out, pushing to the top, pushing to heavens, all the other prayers that he didn't had the vuma, he didn't have the power to raise them properly to the throne of glory. Pray without a kavanah, without intention, doesn't get lost. It just waits on the shelf and waiting for you to, waiting for the real good prayer that you will do, who will elevate all other prayers in front of the throne of glory to do what they're supposed to do. In the case of the Baal Shem Tov, there's a famous story when he comes into a shul and he says, I can't even come in here. They tell him why. He says, the shul is full of prayers that haven't been elevated. The shul is full of prayers that you know. And it's true. And it's true. You need to see. Now, we are here a shul. People come, they put their intentions. Week after week, people come, they give their intention. They put their intention. Not always it ascends, but we are ascending one another. Okay. I can stop here. I can speak more, but I'll speak here. I'll stop here. May it come to pass that we will pray with will yirah, awe, and ahava, love of Hashem, and dvekut, devotion, in the divine light, and that if we do that, if we orient ourselves to the divine spark in us, then surely our praise will ascend and elevate in front of the Almighty and stand to the throne of glory. Wait, I made some more points here to myself. Okay, so just about this minhag, custom to have a special seudah to conclude Pesach on the lunch of, like when you come back from shul after Shvi of Pesach, and it symbolizes the faith, the bitachon, the faith that the same as we had been redeemed back in the days in Egypt, we will be redeemed by the Almighty. Geulat Olam, everlasting Geulah, Geulah that is coming to come, redemption yet to come, which is the basic notion of Judaism, right? Redemption is yet to come. Redemption is, in its way, and we are completing the world. We are co-creating, and we are God's partners in the act of creation to redeem this world. Okay, with that, I think we can conclude. And some other day, I would like to tell you the story of the Baal Shem Tov and his journey. That's like a full on. So I think with that, we can conclude and move to the Kaddish. So the Kaddish is in page 598, and I see there are several people without or holding a yortzeit. Let me read the name. This week we remember Noreen Orbach, the mother of Margaret Orbach, Kevin Bolon, husband of Fulvia Bolon and father of Mila, Doreen Challens, the mother of Virgil, David Davids, father of Paul Davis, Israel Gering, father of Penelope Hochfeld, Constance Iwuze, sister of Kingsley, Hyman Jukom, the father of Jaime Jukom, Samuel Cotton, the father of Mighty Cotton, Louis Shapiro, father of Aubrey Shapiro, Florence Starfield, mother of Barry Starfield, Alex Uzant, father of Aline Midlane, Nathan Vogelman, father of Gail Berman. So I see several people are here. If you want to join me from the Bima, or just read from where you are, please, let's rise, 598 for the Kaddish. And let's rise. If anyone who is yielding, if you want to join me, come, please. Come, Gail. Good to see you, ma'am. Haven't seen you for a while. Good to see you. Yeah. $598, the Kaddish. Let's recite it together. You'll take the lead. 3, 2, 1. דל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועל מה דברה חירותי והמליך מלכותי, וחייכון וימחון וחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה בזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר, ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, באמירם בעלמה, ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום עם רומה, והוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל בני אדם, ואמרו אמן. Thank you. We wish you all long life. Okay.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Okay, so this was quite a week. Paul, you're going to help me out here if I get this wrong. It was very significant. On Sunday evening, the people that are part of Counting of the Ome group met, and we discussed some of the intentions for the coming week, which was this week that passed. And it all centered around giving and kindness and how we give and what the boundaries of giving are. And that was quite conceptual and theoretical. And then came an actual incident. We were suddenly called upon to raise some clothing and blankets and things to send down to KZN. So Tessa, my great friend, initiated the project and we ran with it. And within 24 hours of posting a request for blankets and clothes, we were inundated. We were literally flooded for the floods with goods. We came up to Shul at 1 o'clock the following day, 24 hours later, and we were overwhelmed by the amount of things that had arrived, from blankets to beautiful baby cot things, all sorts of things. People just poured in with their goods, and it was very overwhelming. And echoing in my head, Paul, were some of the things that you had said about how much do we give, who do we give to, do we need to know where it's going, or do we just give because giving is the right thing to do? But anyway, I did want to share amongst all of these amazing things, and people were so thoughtful, like pillows, which I hadn't thought of, towels, raincoats, all kinds of things. Amongst this huge donations with this incredible red pair of very high heel patent leather shoes. And Tess and I were quite delighted by it. And we're going to follow the story of these shoes to see exactly where they ended up. So when you're watching your television and you are looking at footage of the floods and people receiving goods, look out for those red patent leather shoes. They were very delightful. Okay, so basically I'm telling you that to say thank you very much to everybody who donated. And then I also wanted to say, and thank you to Judy, who heard us very much. We got rave reviews from the Seder last Friday night. People thoroughly enjoyed it. It was extremely well attended. So I wanted to thank the people that organized that. And then also to remind you that if you look at your newsletter, there's a link to a little brochure that's got all the things that are coming up in the next few months. It's called What's On at Beit Emanuel. And you'll see all the kinds of things that are coming up from now until June. Yeah.
End of June.
Okay, so look out for the red shoe. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thanks for that. Thanks for that. So the Omer process group will meet every Sunday in 5 o'clock, right? Sorry? 6 o'clock. You met once off on the 5 o'clock. Okay. No. 6 o'clock on the Sundays. The link is on the group. What? Yeah, I also think it's 5. Yeah. You were in Nairobi. That's why it was 6. No, I was. Okay. 5 o'clock, Sunday is 5 o'clock, and I think you can still join it. Every week has a different value, a different concept to work with, and that's what the group is doing. Very interesting. Next week we have a youth sleepover, and we also have visitors from the African Leadership Academy. They have visited us several times in the past, but not since COVID. So this is also a sign of reopening. Used to visit us like about once a year. And what's interesting is, other than people from all over the African continent, they have so-and-so American students because they need to expand. And naturally, some of these American students are Jews. So it's going to be interesting to see that encounter of African Leadership Academy and the American Jews and us and the youth who are doing the sleepover. I'm looking forward to see how it will work. If you got youth, and by youth I say 14 to 19, who are interested in joining us, please, the details are in the bulletin. Also regarding youth, we're going to have a communal roundtable about the role and possibilities of the youth in 2 weeks' time, on the 8th of May. This is a weekend that weekend of May when we're going to have plenty of things. There's a Palmi coming up. There is the Artseinu reception for Yom Ha'atzmaut and so on. So by all means, I want to thank the security team who are today almost in full capacity, and they need more volunteers. Please, if you want, talk with the leadership team of that. I want to thank Shmira for sharing from behind the scene and so on, the musician and everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And join us for the Brucha. I'm here tomorrow morning, 9:30 as usual. Let's conclude with Adon Olam, 6:25. Counting of the Omer. Well, naturally, okay, point made. No, okay, point made. Point made. I was talking about it, but didn't do it, yeah. What would I do without you, David? Good. So we are on 570. 570, we are on 6 today, right? We are on 6 today. Yeah. 7, you see? What would I do without you? 570, thanks for that. Hineni mukhan umzuman lekayem mitzvat aseh shel sfirat haomer. I'm ready to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שקידשנו מצוותיו וציוונו על ספירת העומר. היום 7 ימים שהם שבוע אחד לעומר. Today is the 7th day, which makes 1 week to the עומר. והינום אדוני אלוהינו עלינו, מעשה ידינו כוננהו ומעשה ידינו כוננהו. Good.
השם הלך בטרם כל יצר נברא, לעת נשא בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. אדון עולם השם הלך בטרם כל יצר נברא, לעת נשא בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא. והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארו. אדון עולם השם הלך בטרם כל יצר נברא, לעת נשא בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. והוא אחד ואין שני, להמשילו להכבירה, בלי ראשית בלי תכלית, ולא העוז והמשרה. אדון עולם השם הלך בטרם כל יצר נברא, לעת נשא בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. והוא אלי וחי גואלי, ותוקף לי בעת צרה. והוא ניסי ומנוס לי, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא. אדון עולם השם הלך בטרם כל יצר נברא, לעת נשא בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. בידו מפקיד רוחי, בעת ישי ואין Azai melech, azai melech, azai melech, azai melech. Shemot nikra.
Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. Join us for the brucha.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Hi to all the Zoomies.
Ciao.
Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.